Hello, hello, and welcome everybody to Shotcast episode number 81. We have a ton of stuff to talk about, so I'm just gonna look. You guys can usually we say, "Hey, what's up?" All that good stuff. I'm just gonna get right into it. Okay. Today I was making tacos, right?
Okay.
And I
good.
didn't have any shredded cheese. Okay, so I was like, okay, I'll get out the old shredder. I'll put a little elbow grease in it. I'll shred my own cheese. I didn't realize somehow, some way, how much better that freshly shredded cheese is, other than like over the packaged stuff. I
Really?
feel like I wasted my entire life, 26 years it took me to figure out that shredded cheese is so much better.
Of course it's better, yeah. I'm glad that you've had this breakthrough, but I'm at the same time shocked that you didn't know that.
Well,
We should-
it's kind of it's different. It was not different cheese, but it depends what kind of cheese did you shred or grate.
A little Colby Jack action.
I don't know what that is.
Colby Jack, wait, I think I tried this.
I feel like every NA cheese has Jack on the end of it. Pepper Jack, Colby
do
Jack.
like their Jack cheese.
We do
Cheddar Jack.
like Jack.
You like cheddar Jack and like all the normal Jacks.
Cheddar Jack is a thing, yeah.
See,
I
you
know.
just said Jack on the end.
Wait, what do you mean? You just said it. You said you have cheddar Jack. I said, yeah, we have cheddar Jack.
No, I'm just saying because cheddar cheese is like the most common cheese. So I just put Jack on the end of it. And you're like, yeah, we
Oh.
got cheddar Jack.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Apparently, Jack.
Yeah, now
I mean,
that I'm thinking about it, yeah, you actually had a really good point about that. What is cheddar Jack?
So,
Well-
yeah, hand grade cheese, obviously better because it's fresher. So you should all be doing that, chat. You should all be doing that. All the listeners, we want you to hand grate your own cheese. Buying the pre-grated cheese, pre-shredded cheese, it's just not going to be fresh. It's not the same. So it's gonna taste better. It's probably gonna cook better if you're melting it for anything. Yeah, definitely grate your own cheese.
My
We call it
cheese
shred-
that
you
I
shred
buy,
it, we grate it.
my grated cheese is a 4-cheese combo. So I get the best of all worlds. And it's got a bit of parmesan, mozzarella, cheddar, and something else in there.
And you put that
That's
on
good-
you put that on anything though?
Yeah, it's not like an overwhelming on any cheese front. So
Okay.
you can have it on anything, but it's perfect. It's a perfect melt sort of cheese. So it's great for toasted. You have toasted cheese sandwiches.
Yeah,
like cheese
toasties.
on toast. Whatever you want to melt cheese. If it's like homemade pizzas, isn't too bad on that as well. So,
Yeah,
I'm glad
curious,
we got down this.
I'm
Yeah, I just
curious
wanted
as
to share
well,
that.
Is there a segue here? Someone in chat's asking, is there a segue? Where is this going? Is this an LG segue with cheese? Or
No.
is this,
Speaking
like,
of
just another segue.
cheesy victories.
No.
No, we'll get to that later.
No,
I
if
just wanted to
if you guys got a segue, feel free. I just wanted to share.
Yeah. So yeah, good, great segue. So our first topic today, I've been getting a million questions on stream. Nwpo got kicked from Rule 1 for spouting racist remarks. So thanks, Rizzo, for the great segue there.
Flawless. I tell you what, that was smooth sailing the whole way. It wasn't a rough one. It wasn't choppy winds. That
Yeah,
was
it
like
was
a
great.
calm day at water. That one straight
was
into
great.
in and out.
Yep. Wow.
But
All
okay,
right.
so no, this is a pretty drawn out situation. We've not done a chalked in a bit, but 12 days ago, it was posted on socials. The video of it was like a Discord call recording of him and some other people. I don't know who else in the call. But they're speaking Arabic and there's subtitles, and a lot of people confirmed the subtitles are pretty accurate, and there's racist remarks in there, amongst other things, but. He got removed from Rule 1. This is the timeline. I don't have the date for when that happened. But yeah, he got removed from Rule. No, he didn't get removed from Rule 1. Sorry, let me get this right. Rule 1 released the roster because they didn't want to have Nwpo on the roster after that happened, and they also didn't want to take the RLCS points away from the other players who would have been impacted. They wanted to leave that decision up to them, so they just released the entire roster. Rule 1 did. They released Misho, Khaled, Nwpo, and Venom. And I believe if they had just kicked Nwpo, the whole team would have lost their points. I think their RLCS points.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that what
Because
was
they're
after
already
the
past the window.
So since it was outside the transfer window, if you kick someone, you lose your points. And I didn't know that actually. D-Rex says no. Okay. What? They could have played with Misho. Okay, so they could have played with Misho under Rule 1.
Oh,
I
but
thought that's what I thought. I thought that they
See-
could have just benched it, or I thought if they kicked him, they wouldn't be getting another player, so they're not
Well,
replacing
is that
him.
like their
Misha was
is that like their sub? Is he good
Yeah,
though?
Misha was their sub. He was signed. Yeah, he's very good. He's
Oh,
solid.
okay.
He's a really good player. So like Misho, I guess Misho, Venom, and Khaled could have played under Rule 1. Maybe they didn't want to do that. Maybe the other players wanted to keep playing with Nwpo. So Rule 1 released the roster. So they could keep their points playing with him. And they didn't force those players to stay under the roster who wanted to keep playing with Nwpo. I guess that's what happened. And well, I guess that's the reason Rule 1 released roster. But that did happen. They are now playing with Misho, Venom, and Nwpo under a team name called Anything. They're not signed, and they came top 4 in the last regional. That is a couple of days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago that happened. So when I say 12 days ago, this leak came out of Nwpo spouting racist remarks in Arabic, and then now he's playing in RLCS. Clearly, they haven't banned him. So that's the discussion now that everybody's having online: is should RLCS ban him? Should he be banned? What has happened in the past with players being banned? I believe we looked up a player called Nitri, who's another RLCS player from MENA, who got banned. Now, maybe someone in chat can help us out with this. NTRI, Nitri, apparently he got banned. I saw Hibbs tweeting about it. Saw some Reddit comments about it. What was the situation with that one? Was that in game? Was that in Discord? Was that in RLCS in any way, shape, or form? Because that's the discussion people are having. Is it wasn't in RLCS? It was a private Discord call. Should RLCS ban him? A Real 1 obviously released him, which isn't surprising.
Was the only correspondence we got? Surely the only thing we know is that it was like I swear I saw just a tweet from Jayski or something that said, "Oh, Epic aren't going to do anything." Was that the only thing we heard? Like was basically we heard through a third party that Epic weren't going to make a decision because it was outside a game, because Epic didn't actually.
Tweeted he had multiple sources on that. He tweeted that multiple sources have confirmed nothing's going to happen. Well, so far nothing has happened, so maybe his sources were correct. But I don't know what those
But no
sources
official word from Epic.
I also think if they were going to do something, they would have done it by now. I don't think they would sit in silence and then, I also don't think they're going to make a tweet or whatever, address it and be like, hey, we're not doing anything, by the way. That doesn't make sense. So I think the fact that they haven't said anything, it basically means nothing's going to happen.
But okay, so just to give the full context here of what was said, you can find the video if you look on Reddit. You'll find it and you can listen to it yourself. But yeah, it's all in Arabic, and there's subtitles, and the subtitles have been confirmed to be pretty accurate by several people who who speak Arabic and can translate Arabic to English. But the consensus that I'm seeing, because I don't speak Arabic, so I kind of have to just look and see what people are saying here, is that it's not a direct one-to-one translation with hard R N word. It's a little bit more of a common, word that in another context might not be considered racist, but in this context it is racist. So the people who are saying, a lot of people who are saying that this is not like a one-to-one translation for the N word, are also saying, but in this context, that is racist. So that's the. I don't speak Arabic, but that's like the that's the consensus I'm seeing. People who do understand seem to think that he should be banned and that he should receive some kind of punishment for this. But yeah, I think for what I would like to see is just some kind of clarification about what is like if they've banned people in the past for things outside of RLCS, things like Discord calls, and now they're not doing that. Like Rizzy, you mentioned, they're not going to tweet about that because it's bad PR. But
I just don't think they're not going to tweet and say we're not doing anything, because then they're like, hey, he's actually, hey, I don't think what he said wasn't that bad, so we're just not going to ban it. It's more so you just turn the blind eye and you just don't mention it, sort of thing.
They've definitely sort of done that by saying, it's kind of outside our jurisdiction, if you would, because it was outside of Rocket League. But I mean, if it's happened before, and if that was at Nitri,
Nitri.
Does anybody know when Nitri was banned?
It was a year ago.
A year ago?
For a year. So maybe he's about to be unbanned. I don't know. That situation I didn't even hear about it when it happened. It's only now that this has happened I heard about that previous one. Some people are saying in chat that was much worse. I don't know. Again, what that context was for Nitri's ban. Nitri should be a permanent ban. Was there like any kind of post about that? Like I guess he's a much less known player. So even though he was making main events in MENA at the time, I don't think it got anywhere near as much widespread coverage. But yeah, I mean, I hope Nwpo learns from this is something you can't do, because regardless of what kind of context, what the word means in one culture versus another, you know, in the online world, everybody has the same rules, so you have to play by the rules, and you can't do that. And you're a public figure, so you should know better. And his apology wasn't really an apology that he tweeted. He tweeted, "This is an apology for me to everyone for the unfortunate events you witnessed, etc., etc." But he pretty much just gave his side of the story, and he did say sorry, but
Wasn't it
he
like in self-defense from being like?
yeah, he said that he was
Yeah.
racist in self-defense because somebody was making fun of him, so he decided to make fun of them back with racist comments, which is obviously not acceptable. You can't just use that as a. It's not like, oh, it was self-defense. Well, then of course it's okay. No, that's obviously still not okay. You can't do that.
Oh, that
So,
adds up. Okay, yeah. No, we're all good here. We're all good.
but yeah,
I
I mean,
think,
I hope he learns
yeah.
from it. He's still young, so he can definitely learn from this situation. And yeah, you can't do this. You're a public figure, and these guys are definitely shoved in the limelight very young. And it's not right that somebody's recording private, calls. It's still his fault though. At the end of the day, and there are repercussions. So yeah, rule one, removing him, or no longer affiliating with him makes sense to me. I'm not surprised. Good on rule one. Arsenal also tweeted about this. He said, "Just learn from this. As a pro, people will try to get reaction out of you and slander your name in hopes of ruining your career. He has to learn from this. But all of y'all bashing on him and acting like you're perfect isn't right either." There is some truth to that. Everybody's made mistakes, said things they shouldn't say. So we shouldn't all be, we need to give them a chance to, grow from this, learn from this. But yeah, he definitely messed up. He definitely messed up big time.
I think it's about, I think I was talking about it on stream last week. Like it's just one of those things that, like, as you said, you've got to sort of move, with the times, and obviously what was acceptable perhaps, 10 years ago. It's just as we've all kind of, the way of the world and what is acceptable and what's not. It reminds me of when I was talking about off stream, like Decker and Requiem, we had the OCE ban. It was a similar situation, similar slurs and stuff we used. And I think they kind of did came out with I think Decker or someone tweeted, the screenshots of NA players in like Discord messages and stuff like that. And then it's kind of turns into like not like a whataboutism, but kind of, well, if you're going to do this, you have to ban them. And I think that's where
a U2 movement.
Yeah, and then it's
finger
kind of
point.
hard. I can see where Epic's coming from in terms of, in terms, I guess, like the internet is forever. So you're probably going to find dirt on everyone if you go back far enough. So then, if Epic were to ban Nwpo, is that a precedent set? Like, is there now a ruling? This is now not on. So any other information, they could find messages from people from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, however long, and ban people as well. So I think it's a tough one to sort of navigate this kind of thing. But I'm glad Rule 1 stepped up, and you saw in Civic's tweets and stuff like that. So it was good from them. But yeah, I think it's just a learning lesson for Nwpo, and it's just what isn't as acceptable today. And obviously it's a culture. We don't really know what's going on. Like, obviously the Reddit comments as well saying like it's not offensive over there, and it's just tough, as you said. It's like
They said
the
in some
internet is
contexts it's
global.
not offensive. Like the word being said can be said in a different context and it wouldn't be offensive, but in this context it is, and it's definitely derogatory. So, yeah. Somebody was saying in chat that Nitri was the guy who exposed him. Is that true? Was it the same guy who got banned a year ago, who's in this call recording and leaked it? Well, I think also it's worth mentioning the person who leaked this removed their own voice from the recording that they leaked. It was? I didn't know that. That's kind of insane. So player gets banned for racist remarks, and then a year later records
Goes on
Nwpo.
tirade to ban other people.
I mean, I do believe, I like, although it's a bad it's not like the correct thing to say in the context of an apology. Like, I do believe Nwpo when he says he was like egged on or I provoked in some way. No, it wasn't. No, it's not. So some people are saying yes, it was him. Some people are saying no, it wasn't. I don't know who to believe, but yeah, the situation has still not had any comment from RLCS, Epic, Blast, etc. So I don't know if now this far down the line we're likely to get one. Yeah, he's definitely played an RLCS event after it happened. So I feel like if they're waiting, if they're still trying to figure it out, then he is still playing
He's
in the
gaming.
meantime.
Nah,
He's gaming. He's on the
He's on
ground.
servers. I can see him. He's right there.
But yeah,
yeah,
about that. So about the gaming aspect, it isn't likely that they make LAN, even though they've continued playing with the sub Misho, who's actually a very good player. They're way off the pace because Twisted Minds, Real One kicked Amad, he joined Twisted Minds, and now Twisted Minds are the second team, and they're winning. Well, they're beating everybody except Falcon. So it looks like Twisted Minds are going to go to Major 2, and if they do that, they probably go to Worlds as well. So if they don't decide to ban Nwpo or do anything about the situation before the qualifier that is happening in 2 weeks from now, then that'll be the end of his season. Because I don't think they're making Major anyway. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. They haven't said anything yet. Yeah, I don't think anybody would sign him.
He would be the first double ban in Rocket League history. Should be pretty good. You might get a tag for that or something. I don't know if you get the 1 year then the perma.
Might get a tag. I don't know if he's gonna be getting a blue tag for that one.
Yeah, he's probably not getting a blue. He's probably not getting a Rockets engaged sort of tag. Or
it's a moderator tag for that one.
Yeah, he probably just wins Worlds like twice because all the banned players win LAN, maybe not Worlds, but LANs. Like although it is worth mentioning, and none of Atomic, Seiko, or Zen were banned for racist remarks. They were all banned for playing on someone else's account when they were too young, which is something Nwpo has also done. So he's been banned already, and now he's going for number 2, trying to get double banned.
So yeah, the summary of that is Rule 1 released their full roster after that whole ordeal. And speaking of rosters, did you guys get the chance to see Turbo's Cheeks V2 in action?
I mean, what a collapse the class that was.
I mean, we were talking about Alpha Cap not being up to par with being the lube of the team. And what did we witness? An absolute catastrophe.
I mean, he was like a triple coat layer of lube. That guy had more gaps in his gameplay than I've ever seen anywhere. So I thought I need to apologize to you first off because I thought you were bad at some point. I watched a lot of your qualifier run. I thought some of the big moments, I thought you stepped down rather than stepped up. But goodness me, witnessing Alpha Cap on that team was like it was like watching like a baby giraffe in a Olympic 100-meter sprint. I mean, he could not have looked more out of place in that lineup, Alpha Cap. And interestingly, he's kind of gone the first killer approach of kicking his teammates again and forming.
Is there any reason why you compared him to a giraffe? Just wondering.
Well. It came to me pretty naturally, actually, that one. So
okay. Just the first thing you thought of, I guess.
Could be a physical.
Yeah. I guess some sort of physical feature. I don't know, maybe. But anyway, watching that, I was sitting there kicking my little feetsies, having a grand old time because I could not tell you how much I wanted to either see them make top 16 or place worse than we did the 2 weeks before. Yeah, worse than 32, and they placed worse. And I was sitting there celebrating. I couldn't even believe it. I was mind blown. Actually, I thought they would actually qualify. I believe a little bit, but now, like you said, kept another kick. Turbo pulls to the next victim, I guess.
What? How have they kicked Turbo? Listen, like what Turbo laughing. I thought that was the whole point of the content. Like that was for me.
Yep. That's what I thought.
What's the content now? Why do I want to watch? I don't want to watch.
When they got rid of Rizzo, I was thinking, okay, well now Turbo's going to have less to laugh about, so I don't like that. And then they get rid of Turbo, and now there's going to be no laughing at all. I mean, what are we doing here? We've actually just nuked the entire content.
Now I will say they've replaced Turbo with Kofer, and I've never heard Kofer speak, but maybe there's a chance he's a Weezer.
He's funny.
A giggler.
Kofer's actually really good, so they might qualify because Kofer's actually good. Squishy recently made regionals before he retired, and now he's trying to make regionals again. So,
yeah, but I don't care, Johnny, because it doesn't have Turbo in it or Rizzo. So even if they make it now, you're like, okay, you've just made a good team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well done. Apart from obviously.
I mean, but like, okay, so Kofer, I can kind of see it from his POV though. That's a smart move. Because Kep and Squishy are both big streamers, so Kofer can, you can get a lot more eyes on his game by carrying them.
Smart.
Yeah, he's actually really solid, and he no longer has a team for the season. He was in Sosa's team.
Yeah, Sosa and Cam.
Sosa's taking the rest of the season off, so he needed a team. It's like somewhere. Everybody else already got a team. Who can he easily replace? Like, yeah, someone with Turbo Streaks. It's probably the best thing he can do to get like people to see his gameplay. So from his POV, smart move. Good. Interested to see how they're gonna go.
Well done,
Yeah,
Rizzo.
they could qualify.
Yeah, that's a great result from you guys. You know, I thought honestly, I thought squishing that we're getting further. But either NA's better than I thought, or you're better than I thought.
Like,
or both.
can you still sign up for Regional 3, or are the signups closed?
I think they're closed.
No, I think you can sign up until like
Rizzo, I hear Turbo's
maybe not actually. I think it's
I hear Turbo's LFT. Maybe you can sneak in, get another third, run it back.
Oh, someone said sign-ups closed 45 minutes ago. Yeah, actually, I thought about it because Kep was talking on stream so much about getting a replacement, and I thought about messaging Turbo and asking Squishy to sign up with us, and then we all just don't play just to get Kep.
You should have got Kofer, bro.
me Turbo and Kofer.
That would actually be hilarious because Kofer would be trying so hard. Turbo would not be able to keep it together. Like the juxtaposition from Turbo's POV of both of his teammates, just the how we'd feel like seeing you on the ball versus Kofer on the ball would really, I think, that would send Turbo to a new dimension.
I mean, who's on the ball's kind of nice. Put him against Dignitas, and that guy is popping off. Can I? Speaking of this event, I don't want to make this into a sad note, but can you believe that this is the final regional of the season coming up for NA?
Oh, wait, yeah, for NA, one more. EU's got two.
Regardless, we're in May. This is it.
It's fast. But hey, we asked for this. To be fair, we did ask for this, and I do actually think this is better as long as something is happening. As long as Epic, as long as Blast or whoever else, what other partners they've got, as long as they're making other events, then it's fine. It's gonna be an improvement on the really, really long season that's so long that the fall major just drifts into insignificance by the time you get to the end of it. Now at least both majors are gonna be relevant. Both the international events are gonna feel recent enough.
Well, they're not because Worlds is in September.
I'm not sure about the big gap.
Yeah, it'd be fine if the whole season finished up in July. But having a 2-month gap does draw the season out just as much as if we had a tighter 3 split window. they could have put a third split in there and a major, nice, and still have Worlds in September.
I think the break is probably good. It was too much RLCS before, but they got to do something in the meantime. So I mean, hey, we're full. We've got all the ideas. We're full of ideas. Blast. If you need any ideas for the off-season Epic Games, like just who to call. We've got all the ideas for you guys. Ghostbusters. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say, speaking of Dignitas, they qualified this time. Dignitas did. In fact, they qualified. They failed to qualify the first NA event of the split, where they played with Evo, Stizzy, and Arsenal. Didn't make it through the qualifier. Now they've benched Evo, got Gyro back, and they made it. And they actually nearly made top 4. They kind of played very well. They took Space Station to 7, if I recall. I'm just pulling it up now.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
Yes. They are so back. I saw something. I don't know, maybe yesterday or the day before, where honestly, it's probably direct. I saw it direct in the chat, but there was something along the lines of where teams are just disbanding a lot more because either one, they're not able to make the major, and since that nobody gets preferred treatment for getting a top 8 in points, so you don't get the free buy to the regional sort of thing. So there's no reason to stick together unless you're actually in major contention. So it's causing the 9-10 seeds to just disband and lose all their points because it doesn't matter. There's no reason to actually stick.
Yeah, we can go into that more. The whole no auto bid spots with the whole KC situation.
Yeah.
We'll get into that for sure. But yeah, there's definitely less of a reason to stick with there not being auto qual. It's tough. But I mean the top 8 are the good news for NA is that it's actually quite close with the top teams. G2 are way ahead, Gen G are way ahead. Space Station have established themselves as a solid number 3. They are the third best team. no debate now. We speculated this at the end of last split that they might be the third best team, and we just wouldn't know because they only played Gen G and G2. But
Yep.
yeah, they're the third best team. And then OG have kind of established themselves as like a good shout for the fourth best team. They beat Gen G last weekend. 2 days
Yeah,
ago.
and can I just say, screw you to anyone that was doubting us when we said that Space Station were a good team. Oh, but if I had $1, Johnny, for any time someone said, "Oh, you just got to beat whoever's in front of you." No, they had the unluckiest run of all time. They
Super
played
unlucky.
Gen G 3 times, and everyone was going, "Oh, well, you just got to win. You just got to beat who's in front of you." No, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
Yeah, you
doesn't
got to
sort out
beat
the
them
best
one of
team.
the 3 times. Like you've played Gen G 3 times, you got to beat them once. No, you don't. Like literally the OG and LG made LAN last split without beating Gen G at all. But hey, OG beat them once now, so OG are kind of earning their spot as a top 4. They're getting better. Like again, they just do this. They did this last split and they're doing it again. OG just kind of improved throughout the split. So they're my 4th pick to go to LAN. I think they're going to make it. I think it's Gen G, G2, Space Station, OG. I back OG to make it. Although right now they're in a tie for 4th place with Cloud9, who beat M80, who are still cursed and can't win a playoff series. That series was shambolic. And then somehow Cloud9 went for that. It was a terrible series. Matey and Cloud9 was a disaster class. And then the next day, Cloud9 played really, really well. They took G2 to Game 7, and dare I say, they actually had chances in Game 6 to win the series 4-2. They actually played very well. Congrats to them. I can't believe they've taken G2 to Game 7 twice, and they had big chances to win that second one.
That's our team.
Cloud9 Space Station final. It is insane.
I mean, can I just say, I'm happy for the players, but now let me.
Oh, here we go.
This C9 does not deserve this. They can't tease us for months and years on end, okay? And then get they're currently 4th in NA, and possibly they can get a major. The org doesn't deserve it from the Rocket League community. That's all. That's all that has to be said. Happy for the players, though.
The result is ridiculous. Yeah, the players. That's cool because Percy made his first top 4 ever, I believe. He was 0-13 or some crazy stat, 0-14 in quarterfinals.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, he never, because a lot of his top 8s back in the day with was it Alpine, with Magic Bear, Percy, and Jordan. They kept coming like 5th a bunch, and now he's still coming 5th a bunch, even in more recent matches. Alpine, Torrent, Exat. Yeah, he always just came 5th, and it made sense. But now they got against Matey, and finally they're supposed to win because Matey can't win a playoff series to save themselves. Like, what is going on with this team? At this point, do you just? I mean, they've obviously still got a chance to make major. I keep thinking, like, come on, they've got to win a playoff series at some point. But what is wrong with M80? Do you guys have any idea how they can still be losing every single series? They've lost to 5 different teams in the quarterfinal. They're going for the perfect 6 out of 6 different team unique losses.
I do not understand how that team is not at the major, to be honest. Maybe I am just a terrible scout. Maybe I just don't know ball. But I cannot comprehend in any way why that team of 3 players cannot figure it out.
That's an insane mental block now they have every time they make top 8. Like, and as they lose more and more, it just builds up. Like, there's no way. If they make quarterfinals, there's no way they're winning that quarterfinal. There's going to be 6 in a row.
They beat Gen G and G2 in Swiss this weekend. They actually gave G2 their first loss in Swiss this season that wasn't to a Gen G roster. Their first loss to anyone not named Gen G, and then they lost to Cloud9 in a series where Cloud9 weren't even playing well. Cloud9, as we saw the next day against G2, can play a whole lot better than they played against M80, and M80 still lost 4-2. I just don't understand this team. They won 7-0 to go 2-1 up in Game 3. Cloud9 just called a timeout and won 3 games, and M80 just went out with like the most pitiful, like, no hope at all gameplay I've ever seen. I just don't understand it. I don't, but hey,
they beat C9 in Swiss and then lose the rematch in a best-of-7 quarterfinal.
Yeah. And in other news, Snowman, not consistent. They got a top 4 last time, didn't make it out of Swiss this time. So Snowman are still in shooting distance. If they make another top 4, there's a very good chance that they go to the major, as long as OG or Cloud9 don't. But yeah, they're lacking consistency, the young guns. I wouldn't mind seeing them at LAN. I feel like that would be exciting. But yeah, they got swept 3-0 by your boys, Shopify, CJ.
Got bodied by the boys. Me and Rise were watching that one. Rizzo dipped, but Yeah, we had a look at that one. Spotify looking fantastic. I just think if they aren't the space station gaming of this split, Johnny, I mean they've had G2 and then Gen G, or G2 and then Gen G and then G2. I'll tell you what, if they've got anyone else, you know, they're gonna give us a Cloud9.
It's their fault though.
Give us
Like,
some 80.
surely it's their fault, isn't it? Or was it? No, actually, last
Not the
event
first
wasn't their
one.
fault.
They got 3
Okay,
seed.
okay, true. Yeah, first event was
Thank
not their
you.
fault. Okay, I take it back. But what if it happens
unlucky.
again though? It happened twice to Shop or to Space Station. So they're not quite as unlucky as Space Station. But they're still in the running. I mean, Shopify,
Well, wouldn't it
M80, they're
also
all 16
be
points.
wouldn't it also be like their fault because they got such horrible seeding from when they didn't make it
Well,
to
the
the
first
regional?
event, Gen G got 6th place.
Yeah, they got
in
3rd
Swiss.
seed.
Oh,
And
so they just
Shopify
got
third.
So then they said, let's
Yeah.
lose. I talked to the boys. They said, let's go round 5 because we'll probably get an easier matchup. Then they get G2. What the hell? G2 weren't even number 1. It just doesn't make sense. They didn't even, you know.
also,
it's like
I'll
they
tell
got
you,
number 8 seed.
they did get a bit unlucky because, like, in this past event, Shopify finished 6th place because they swept Snowman in the last round. Now, that was a mistake. What they should have done is win
lost one.
3-2. Because if they went 3-2, they would have been 7th seed. And then they would have played against M80, which is obviously a free win.
Win.
Like, again, like Swiss into single, not very consistent for finding out who the actual top 4 teams are in one go. But hey, across the split, it should be fine. You can get situations like SSG last split where they just play Gen G in every single quarterfinal, and that's just unlucky. But yeah, they're changing it to AFL for Worlds. Hopefully that is the online qual format next split as well. It's just better than single limb. It's just straight up better.
It also, yeah, it works. I mean, you got to look at not just NA and EU, but the teams, the regions that have 2 teams going. And this format, again, it's just so annoying. OCE, I'm sick of it. I've seen it for 3 years now of, who's got the one team with the easy side of the bracket, or who are the 2 teams that are going to play each other in the semi-final? You know, who's got the free run to the grand final? It's just, that can decide who goes. So speaking of
there's one other team in NA before we move on. LG, 9th place, 12 points, haven't made it out of Swiss yet. They're in big trouble. They kind of need a grand final minimum if they want to make LAN, and that would probably rely on a tiebreak as well.
A miracle.
If they get 2nd place in the next event, the last event, they probably get a tiebreaker, maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe they need to win the event. But yeah, LG's in big trouble. They're pretty much, it's out of their hands at this point.
They got swept by Netherland America.
That was in the first event.
Netherland America Canada.
No, that was the first event. In this event, they beat Netherland America Canada. Then they beat Snowman 3-1. Hello, LG.
That's a big win.
But then they got swept by Space Station.
Oh.
They lost 3-2 to OG. And that was a back and forth series where every game went to a different team. It was like OG, LG, OG, LG, OG, so 3-2. Then they lost to Cloud9 3-1 in the last round. So they got reverse swept out of Swiss. They lost 3 series straight to not make it out of Swiss. Kind of rough for LG there. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the first split writing was on the wall though for this team. This team goes round 5 of Swiss every time. You cannot do that.
Mathematically, they're going to lose eventually, and mathematically,
or get a tough
M80 should
quarterfinal.
win
You'd
eventually.
think or just get G2 Gen G in the quarterfinal if you keep doing that. So they're not able to be consistent enough in Swiss to go 3-1 or 3-0, and that's their biggest problem. They look dangerous enough against the top teams when they do get a shot at them. They look like they can compete, but they're just not good at beating teams they're supposed to beat, and it looks like they're not going to go to LAN. Their world spot is also in high risk, and the one saving grace for Luminosity Gaming's world spot is if Cloud9 go to LAN instead of OG. So this is if you're an LG fan, what you need to have happen in the next event is for LG to outplace OG by at least 4 points.
Okay.
So just let's say that they get, quarterfinal and OG go 1-3 in Swiss or something. So you need OG to do badly because OG are currently 3 points ahead of LG in points. So you need to catch that back up, and then you need Cloud9 to go insane, make the LAN, and then bomb out of the LAN with no points. Because Cloud9 are right now 12 points behind LG. So if they make the LAN and then get absolutely nothing, LG still goes to Worlds.
But they need to scrape through to the major because they could get heaps of points this event as well.
Yeah, Cloud9 would. I mean, if let's say LG go semi-finals, just as an example, if they can clutch a semi-finals at this event, but Cloud9 get quarterfinals and OG get quarterfinals, that would mean it's basically an OG LG, or sorry, an OG Cloud9 tiebreaker for LAN. And if Cloud9 win that, they go to LAN. But then they would need to get 16 points at that LAN to pass LG in points, and I think that's top 8 at the major, which is not happening. Like Cloud9 are not making top 8, so it's possible LG can still go to Worlds, but I don't know. I don't know if I back Cloud9 to carry them there.
Oh, I think this actually, I know you want to move on here, but this actually spawns off of the LG Colin, because I think just because Reddles is a YouTuber and he attracts a lot of these people, but my God, have I seen a lot of armchair analysts recently on Twitter and, well, I don't know about Reddit. I actually haven't checked Reddit all that much recently, but I'm sure they're there. Why not? They're always there. You know, they're on Twitter as well.
They are always there.
Not to say that they're not, but so many, like, dude, I just, you know, Reddles just says, GG's bad day, or I don't know what he said, something like that. And I just go to the replies, and it's like, people are like coaching him. It's like, hey, man, you should switch to Octane. You're a better Octane player. It's like, shut up. They're the same thing. Like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, man, that just triggers me so hard. I don't know. It's like, clearly, if he felt like he was playing better on Octane, or if he wanted to play on Octane, he would have just played Octane. But, like, that's not the case. You telling them to go on and play Octane, I don't know, the car one is the one that triggers me the most. You know, if people actually give good analytical insight, sure, it might be a good thing. But there's a time and place, you know? It's like, don't do it right after a loss. Maybe I'm just bitching, I don't know. But anyway, I just remember that because you talked about LG, and I just had to bring it up.
You know, the top reply to Rettles tweeting after they lost, he tweeted GG's. And the top reply is, doesn't seem like you guys are even taking this split seriously. This split was so important. Now the season is good.
Fully agree. I'm watching them.
What are we
I'm watching
doing?
them.
Like shit like that. It's like,
What are
they're
we
trolling.
doing?
They're trolling.
Are you a supporter? Are you a fan of him? Because it doesn't sound like it. It just sounds like you're a hater, you know? It's like, that's the worst part, is because it's like the people that care a lot, I guess, but they make it so negative towards you that it makes you feel even worse. It's like, you're supposed to be the positive beacon here, being a fan and like helping support them. Like, hey man, don't worry. But it's like, hey man, you really fucked up here. This sucks.
Well, people don't realize is more often than not, the teams that are losing, the teams that aren't doing well, are actually working harder than the good teams. You know what I mean? Like when everything's kind of clicking, when you're on song, when you're kind of in your groove, you're just in a good routine, in a good rhythm. But the teams that are in the bin, you're doing like 2 hours of replays, you're trying to fix things up, you're changing things every scrim. It's intense. You want to try and work on stuff, and it's just not clicking. But people just, and then you play, you don't perform well, and everyone's like, are you even trying? Are you taking this one seriously? While these guys are like, absolutely.
Are you even trying?
Trenches.
And I've seen another thing where people are like, yeah, if you guys just don't go in and troll the series, yeah, I'm sure they were just sitting there playing with one hand, or like playing with the controller upside down. It's like
trolling.
They're out there having a laugh, right? I don't know. It's just like, oh, that just gets under my skin so much. I don't know what it is.
Oh my goodness. I wanted to talk about something because CJ did bring up the space station situation last split again, where they, kind of got screwed over by the format.
Shopify situation now.
Yeah, Shopify could be happening now. If they get another like top 5 in Swiss and match up with, G2 or Gen G again, then that's unlucky. That's just really unlucky. Hopefully they can get a good run and dodge the big 2. And maybe get into a tiebreaker major scenario. That would be cool. But there is a team right now in RLCS who are having a space station gaming situation, and it's KRU in South America. KRU this season, they've picked up AJG. It's AJG, Bems, and they just got Wisty. Wisty used to play W7M with Diaz. Diaz went to Complexity. Wisty left to join KRU. So it's AJG, Bems, and Wisty in the first event, Event 3. The only teams that they lost to, let me give you the rundown on their record on their run through the first qualifier 4, first regional of the split. They lost to Furia and Swiss. Fair enough, best team in the region. They beat NIP, who just won the last regional in the SAM. So KRU, they lost to Furia, beat NIP, and then who do they run into in the semifinal? That's right, Furia. They take another L. Qualifier 5 just happened this past weekend. KRU, They go first place. Perfect. 9-0. They beat everyone in Swiss. It's their number 1 seed. But NIP beat Furia in Swiss. So Furia ends up on the same side of the bracket as KRU again, and they lose to them again in the semifinals. So they faced Furia in 2 semifinals in a row. Meanwhile, Team Secret and NIP have gone to the grand final through the other side of the bracket, and NIP have actually beaten Furia in the most recent one. So even though they have only lost to Furia this split, let that sink in. They have only lost to Furia. KRU. They've lost 3 series, and all of them are to Furia. They are in what is it? Fourth equal, I think, in points, or third. Yeah. Fourth equal.
Format.
That's
What
tough.
I say? 2
That is
seeds, 2
tough.
regions, 2 qualification spots. You cannot have top 8 single elim because it's OCE. I see it. I've seen it. Trust me. I've been in the trenches. I've been there with them. It's just bracket luck. You just want to avoid the other top team and get the easier run. So really, they could. No one knows. They could be the second best team in the region, but obviously Furia didn't.
Well,
didn't
NIP
miss them,
did beat Furia, so fair enough.
Yeah.
NIP did beat them. So NIP and Team Secret are tied at second place. They both have 28 points right now. KRU have 24, and Complexity have 20. Complexity are in 5th. That's CRR, Razebull, and Diaz, who's crazy. Really, really good player. But they're not gelling. They're 5th place. But that does mean we could have a bunch of tiebreakers if Complexity make the final, or let's say in the next event, if Complexity beat KRU in the final and Team Secret and NIP are in the semis, 4-way tie. Give it to us. Like, this is there's high possibility that we could see a tiebreaker in South America next weekend. So it's definitely a lot of fun. These guys are playing Unreal Rocket League. SAM is a major region. There's like 6 or 7 legit teams down there, maybe more. So I can't recommend watching SAM enough. It's
now
crazy
imagine
right now.
Johnny.
Stacked.
Imagine a world where KRU, right? They get number 1 in Swiss. Great work. 3-0. They have to play Furia. Oh, how disappointing, because Furia got top 4 as well. They lose to Furia, but they're still in the event because you got top 4. Have your second chance. Let's see if you can beat the people on the other side of the bracket, and then you might see Furia again in the grand final. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Playoffs, baby. That's what's up.
That's what's up.
What a format!
It's just a W format. It would have been perfect. They would have made top 4 in that format. Probably been playing against Team Secret or NIP. We would have found out, who's the third best, who's the second best team in the region.
I heard CJ blaming bracket luck, and I personally think it's dumb for anybody to blame a bracket or to blame a format for teams' shortcomings, because I think that if everybody has to play the same format, that means there is no way to ever improve a format. If everybody has to just play it, then it's the same for everybody, so you should never try to improve it ever.
And if a team is the best team in the world, then they should perhaps just win in the open qualifiers 1,003,000 times in a row. There's no chance.
There's no way we could improve it.
You lose 1 series or 2 and not make it. Oh, just shoot them. Someone shoot them. They're not good enough. They should be the best team in the world. There's no way they lose. They're losing to bums. They're definitely not top players as well. They're losing to. They're fathers that are 55 years old picking up the controllers and playing qualifiers on a weekend. You guys are so stupid. What a stupid argument to the people that say that they should just be winning. If you put a world-class boxer and they have to have 10 fights every day against other professionals, they're probably going to get knocked out once. And K-Corp got knocked out, and they're going, oh, they should just win. What a stupid argument, ladies and gentlemen. Get the top teams through to the Swiss, for goodness sake. Oh, I see one more comment. Sorry.
Let me catch everybody up on what CJ is ranting about right now, in case you missed it. Karmine Corp didn't qualify to the 5th regional of the season. They lost to SA in the upper bracket qualification match last round. They lost 3-1 to Mike Boy, Tekos, and who's their new player? Rizix has joined the team because Tho's gone to APAC. More on that later. They lost to SA, who they have actually lost to before in the open qualifier. So this is the second time they've lost to SA in the open qualifiers. This time, however, they also lost in the lower bracket to Top Cougars. That is Acro, Relating Wave, and now CMAS, the Lithuanian pro, who has joined the team. So
and is also in chat
in that series. And he is in chat. He's the best Lithuanian player in the world. He's incredible. But seriously though, this is it's another example of the format being bad. Now, I talked about this a bunch on my stream. Everybody said I was just coping for Karmine Corp. I don't need to cope. I slept soundly. I don't need to cope for this situation. I slept like a baby the night after this happened. 'Cause it doesn't matter to me.
I slept like a baby.
Yeah, I slept like a baby. Didn't. I don't need to cope. I think it's Karmine Corp's fault. They have no one to blame but themselves. But the format is still bad. Both those things are true. Karmine Corp have no one to blame but themselves. And actually, they took full responsibility. Farah tweeted about it. He said, it's our fault, on me. We messed up. We need to be better.
They all just took blame. Nobody blamed the format.
So no one from Karmine Corp blamed the format. They all took responsibility. And it is their fault. Everybody has to play this bad format. And they messed up. No one else messed up. They did in this instance. But Moist have had this problem. They were a top 8 team who failed to qualify. Dignitas were a top 8 team when they failed to qualify for the first event of this split. Shopify Rebellion were a top 8 team when they failed to qualify. Well, no, they were literally top 8 in points when they failed to qualify for the first event. They were 5th equal, actually, I think, in points. So all these teams, this is the 4th time it's happened where a top 8 team has failed to qualify. And yeah, like CJ said, the argument that everybody says, or a lot of people say, is, well, you just got to beat who's in front of you. They lost to SA and Top Cougars. They don't deserve to play the event. But listen, if in a best of 5 scenario, in a qualifier, it is so much more scary. Upsets are so much more possible. And I think it is, more likely for Top Cougars to upset Karmine Corp in lower bracket open qual than it is for Cloud9 to upset G2 in semifinals best of 7 with timeouts of a main event. I said that on my stream and I stand by it. I thought about it more. I'm like, yeah, I think that's actually true. If I had to, gun to my head, say, we're just going to repeat these series over and over again, which one is going to have an upset first? I would say Top Cougars over KC. In that context, that is a scary, scary series. That is stressful. Upsets can happen. No one is immune.
I've got an analogy. Now, I think my boxing one wasn't fantastic.
No, it wasn't.
I've actually thought about this. I've thought about this whole concept of best team in the world should win every time, right? I think people don't understand that what makes K-Corp good is it's sort of, on average, they are better. And I'm gonna equate it to a darts match, right? You could have the best darts player in the world. The reason why he's the best darts player in the world is because his average is higher than anyone else, right? That's why he's the best. But if you had a professional player, they can still hit 180s. A random, a really good, not like a semi-pro player can still hit 180s every now and then. But on average, over time, the reason why the top players are the best is because they hit it more often than not, right? So what I'm saying is these other top teams, these other professional teams, like your Top Cougars, they can still peak. They can still play at a very high level, but they can't do it every series. They can't do it game after game, series after series. But what they can do, and what you're going to see, is that every now and then, you're not going to get K-Corp. You're going to get Top Cougars, popping off. And you only get a best of 5 as well. It's only 3 games. You don't have to pop off for 3 games to beat a K-Corp. But on average, the reason why K-Corp is so good is because on average, they put in, series after series. They're always at such a high level, which is why they always win. They're world class, but that doesn't mean that they're still going to have some down days. The best darts players in the world, same thing. They're not always going to be hitting 180s, and their average isn't always going to be crazy. They might have an off series. And when you make these top teams play series after series, tournament after tournament, top 512. Whatever, how many teams are in this tournament, instead of playing in the top 16, they're going to have these series where they're not still at their top. But over the course of the tournament, K-Corp's averages are still going to be fantastic, but you're allowing them to have these dips where they're going to lose. And that's what happens. You can't just say, they should win every single series. That's not what happens. Like, they're going to have series when they're not playing well, and you're going to have a series where a team that might not be as good as them on average on, any given day, but it could be their day where they just pop off. And then Top Cougars don't do that again. They'll lose in Swiss. They'll go get 0-3 or 1-3.
Well, the thing is, Top Cougars could get a top 8 next weekend. They are good enough to get a top 8 in Europe. They're kind of at that level where, teams like Endpoint, teams like Resolve, who just, peak top 4, they're in that mix of teams. They could get top 8. They could also go 1-3. They're in that range in Swiss, but they're definitely like a main event quality team. And you can't only look at this from Karmine Corp's perspective. Look at it from Top Cougars' perspective. If they lost that, they have every right to be annoyed as well, because they're not supposed to be playing KC in the qualification match lower bracket. They're supposed to be playing against SA, and they look at their opponent. They could have been feeling sorry for themselves and feeling like this sucks. Like, why do we have to play against KC to qualify? That is not fair. Other teams are qualifying by beating no names relative to KC. Why are we playing these guys? So even from the top guru's perspective, if they lost that, they would have every right to be annoyed at the format and say this is a joke. Why do we have to beat KC and other teams don't? This isn't fair. We're having to beat them because they messed up against someone else. It just literally isn't consistent. But they didn't do that. They actually stepped up and they played fearlessly. If you watch that series, Top Cougars played really well. They played aggressively. They did not have anything to lose, by the way. They didn't make event 1, so they're already out of the major running. They're playing with, at this point, they're just like, let's just go out and play an event and see what happens. Like, they didn't care. They just went in and played aggressively. They didn't respect KC. They weren't afraid of KC. And there are a lot of teams in Europe that will do that will go in and they're just fearless against the top teams. They just go in and boom the ball around and sometimes pick up wins.
Tough.
It is different. Like, people making NA EU comparisons in this context is ridiculous. The regions are not the same in the 16 to 20 rank. It just isn't. They're not even remotely close. So, just because you haven't seen G2 struggle against NA 16 to qualify, it's not the same. It's a completely different class of opponent, and you can't be expected to beat them every single time. I mean, I said this when Shopify lost as well. Shopify came 4th in event 1 of the season. I said, hey, this sucks. The format has been a letdown here. Shopify don't deserve this. They should be at least they should be in a Swiss format to qualify, not in a double limb to qualify. That's my biggest gripe. Shouldn't be double limb. Rizzo, I see you get your hand up there, buddy. What's happening?
Appreciate that. I've been holding off a little bit, but I'm ready to let loose, Johnny. Okay, look, I just want to say that KC loses. All in all, like, I'm not really like sitting here sad about the play. It sucks for the players, but that's not the whole ordeal. Like, I'm not sad about KC, but it's relevant to bring this up again because KC lost. Like, when Dig and Shopify lost, we brought it up. And when Moist lost, I just shut my mouth because I'm a paid actor, so I can't talk. It's like when these teams don't make it, it's a fair time to actually talk about the format. And I'm only talking about this, myself. I don't know what other people are talking about, but when I bring this up, the only thing I'm talking about why it's a good idea to have either like top 4 in RLCS points make it through, top 8 go through, or the qualifiers has a Swiss stage. Something to improve the format to make it just a little bit more consistent. The only reason I shoot for that is for org stability. That is the only reason, because every player should be in favor of having, some sort of extra round or whatever to be able to help you qualify, to have orgs be more trusting in the system to be able to pay you. If your orgs are not in a system, or in a system where it feels random, or there's a lot of variance, like KC being the best team in the world and losing and not making it to a regional,
I know the major as well, probably.
And probably the major, then orgs will be less likely to pay the players, and in turn would harm the esport and make less players want to play because they are receiving less money. That is my entire point on this whole ordeal. I don't care about what players are losing, when they lose, all that stuff. Players should be in favor of this whole thing because it creates more stability for the orgs. That's it.
And a lot of people point out that, okay, Epic, they really want in Fortnite as well. I don't know myself, but I've heard from chat when we talked about format before. Apparently in Fortnite everybody has to qualify. If that is the requirement, everybody has to qualify. Fair enough. The playing Friday Saturday is a total waste of time for pro players. They could be better. It could be much better use of that time, just giving them auto bid to top 32, top 64, whatever stage of the qualifier. Maybe give the top 8 in points or the top 16 teams in points and auto bid to the Sunday. That would be smart. But if we are not going to do that, if they have to play the whole thing, sure. Double them Friday, Saturday, that's fine. It's a waste of time, but okay. If that's something that you just have to have happen, fair enough. But the Sunday being double limb is where the problem is for me. It should just not be double limb. It doesn't matter how many teams are playing in the Sunday. As long as it's a multiple of 16, make as many Swiss brackets as you need. If it's 32 teams in the Sunday, down to 16, make 2 Swiss brackets, and the top 8 in each go to the main event. If it's 64, make 4 Swiss brackets and make the top 4 go through. You could have some kind of tie break with the teams who go 3-1, 3-1, 3-1 to decide. I think just having Sunday be top 32 down to 16 with 2 Swiss brackets would be by far the best way to do this, because you're still going to have the chance for anyone to qualify. You're still going to have just as many signups. You're still going to have just as many opportunities for those really tense qualifier matches in round 5 of Swiss. But it shouldn't be double limb. Like, double limb is just too volatile. It is a bad qualifier format for the last stage before main event, which ironically goes to a consistent format. It's like we go from one day, super volatile, best of 5, double limbs to qualify, and then we're like, okay, now we're in Swiss. Now we're consistent. Why aren't we consistent in the bit right before the main event, the most important part for qualification? Like that is a mistake that we've had all season long.
Also, there's another thing, because Kep is actually in chat, and he said, from a player's POV, I think it makes new players less likely to want to play and try to become pro if it's damn near impossible for new players to get in. I see your point, though. But I think it's actually more beneficial to let the top 8 seed teams go through, because think about it. Kep, think about Turbo's Cheeks playing through open quals. Imagine by some ungodly power, we made it all the way to the winner's side, right? And then our match, we had to play G2. It's like our qualification match. We had to play G2, and if we lost that, we had to go down to play Energy or something, right? Okay, well, we get a free loss because it's G2, right? And then maybe we have a sliver of a chance versus Energy. But instead,
a lot of chance against Energy, but that was a bad example. Keep going.
Bad example. But anyway, instead, if the top 8 teams are already sent through, you don't have to play G2. Your first team is going to be Energy, and then your second team who you're going to play is going to be like Incorrect or something. So you actually get better matches.
More practice.
Yeah, you get better matches, and you don't have to play the first seed in G2. You actually get to play against the 10th seed and then the 20th or whatever it ends up being.
You get top 32, right?
We got top. Yeah, we got top 32.
You, Kep, and Turbo made top 32. So, Kep, what would you prefer for you personally in that event where you guys got top 32? Imagine that you made top 32 on the Saturday, and then Sunday you guys are just thrown into a Swiss bracket with 15 of the other top 32 teams. Would you guys rather that, or would you rather play one lower bracket series when you've made top 32, and if you win, you move to top, 24? You lose, you're out. Like, I think once you've got...
Look, I think you're talking to the wrong team. I think we're trying to get out of there as quickly as possible, so we'd probably take the one lower round.
You are, buddy. That guy's trying to build...
Most players probably want the Swiss stage.
That guy's building the Avengers over there to make top 16.
if you are like I think if you are from that POV, you still had to win from top 32. You still have to win, 2 more series to get in, right? So you have to go 2-0 to get in from there. If at that point it becomes Swiss, it's technically not harder, because now you just have to go 3-2, which is a lower percentage of matches. Going 3-2 is easier than going 2-0, debatably. So I think it would be better for the up-and-coming players as well, because they get more shots at the teams. A lot of the bubble players, a lot of the up-and-coming players are saying, we never get to play against these teams. We finally get our chance, and we're nervous because it's the first time we've ever played and we lose. But now, at least if you're in top 32, you get Swiss, and you're with 15 other teams, you at least get three matches there, which is good. I think it's just perfect for the final stage before qualifying.
Just have top 8 in point. I'll have the people like, how can we possibly determine who gets auto qual? All right, maybe just have top 8 in points, already go through to the main event.
But CJ, let's make it even easier. Let's not even have anybody auto qual, because I think auto qual is a stumbling block for Epic, clearly. So let's just say nobody auto quals, but this Sunday has to be Swiss. Sunday, last day
I think that's 100% an improvement. It's an easy improvement. It's a slam dunk. And basically,
if KC lose 3 times and only win twice, if they go 2-3 in Swiss, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to say anything for 2-3
You've not been upset once, and then you're in the lower bracket like, oh my goodness, what is going on? You're not in panic situation. You lose once in like round 1 of Swiss, it's like, whatever. You can still bounce back from that. And also, it wouldn't even take that much longer. Right now, day 3 is 4 best of 5s back to back to back to back. And as we know, brackets can sometimes get held up by a match taking too long. So it's 1 hour extra to get that round 5 in. So I think it's a no-brainer for me. I feel like if next season doesn't have Sunday Swiss, then we've made a mistake. We had it before. Last season we had Sunday Swiss. Now we just don't.
Yeah, I think obviously that's I think top 8 article is still ideal. I think if your argument of like, but it discourages, if you think, but there's only 8 spots instead of 16, listen here, little Timmy, you ain't that good. All right. So as long as there's 1 spot, you can't tell me it's going to discourage you if half the spots are given to.
But we're giving 16 spots still. We're giving 16. There will be two Swiss brackets.
I guess
nobody
auto
quals. I think we have to do that, because like that. Well, we have to give that as an option. If nobody being able to just auto qual is like if that is an underlined bold thing on the Epic format, like a spreadsheet. Okay, fine, we can make that work. Like, I think getting the top 8 to auto qual would be better, but hey, we can still make it work even if not. There are many solutions here that are better than what we currently have. And this has been happening all season. I've been saying this since Shopify lost. I've got a video on it over 2 months ago where I said the format is gonna be a problem and it's gonna happen again. And lo and behold, it's happened again. And as fun as it is, I'm sure for a lot of people to laugh at the KC fans, because KC fans love to gloat when they win. So I'm sure people like to gloat at KC
it's hilarious
fans when KC
at
lose.
the same time.
I won't deny it was watching top Cougars beat them was absolute cinema. That was content, but we could still have that content. We could have the best of both worlds. We could just have that in round 5 of Swiss, and that it means even more. So
and
there is really no drawback.
Put them into a lower bracket, losing you're out, and you're just versing, as you said, people with no pressure. K-Corp are just the hunted, like they're everyone else is just
they're the target.
Get them. No pressure. It's like you're in a football match and the other team is just studs up tackling you the entire game. Like they have nothing to lose. They do not care if they get red card or they get sent off. They're like, let's just throw shit at a wall and see if it sticks.
They didn't care. Watch the series. They literally didn't care.
Did.
They were just sending it full send, and they were not respect. They were just scoring. They played really well, but like it's definitely easier to play well when you're the underdog with nothing to lose, no expectation on yourself. And K-Corp trying to qualify for a main event, that is terrifying. Like, even for seasoned players like that is one of these scariest situations. That is scarier than any main event match that has been played in any region this season. I guarantee it. That qualifier match KC played, and any lower bracket qualifier match any team has played, will be the scariest match. And that's not, that's not right. It shouldn't be happening. Not that soon. Not because of one bad series.
If you're seriously saying, oh, they should have won, that's their fault. It's their fault. Again, like, if you make teams play enough series, they're going to drop some of those series. It's not 100%. K-Corp versus Top Cougars is not 100-0 probability. They might play 80 games. They might win 80 and lose 20. It might be 75-25. But, you don't have to look at percentages. Yeah. There's a chance that they could lose 3 games before they win 3 games, even with that likelihood. If you have enough series over enough of a time frame, which is what we've had now. We've had 5 qualifiers or whatever we've had so far.
I'm surprised it's not happened more. I'm honestly surprised it hasn't happened more. I thought it was when I made that Shopify video after one event, I was like thinking to myself, this is going to happen every event. So the fact it's only happened another, 4 times in total, that's honestly, we're lucky that it hasn't ruined more team seasons, because this format could have ruined so many team seasons and gotten so many different fan bases and orgs upset. Only Moist KC did his ass in Shopify.
Thankfully, it only happened to the biggest fan base, so it's no big deal. Thankfully, the major viewership is saved because nobody watches KC.
KC they can still make it though. If KC win the next event, which is, talk about pressure. You just got to go and win to have a chance at major. If they win and all of the other teams like BDS keep struggling, if Resolve don't have another God run, then it's possible. They could still make it with 29 points, and then there would probably be a team at 28 right behind them. So KC are not completely out of the major, and their world spot is very most likely safe because they have such a points lead that they're most likely going to be at Worlds regardless. But it sucks if you don't get the KC Ultras in London, man. The atmosphere they bring is just different. I will be sad if they're not there because they're
I think this is a great.
They were in all the main events. I think they probably make it. So it's not good.
So, Kid Slice said, we can be happy KC lost and agree the format is bad.
You can't. Hey, if you're happy KC lost, that is fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that take. But like, you need to be able to see both sides. You can see that it's great content, and also that it's KC's fault, and also that the format sucks.
Yeah.
So we've kind of, I think that everybody settled that. We kind of all agree. Yeah. We need to get a change there, but that's not, I think, the only change. We've talked about another thing we've talked about a lot is starting to rear its ugly head in SSA. Team Mobula, a full Spanish team. 2 of them have gone to Sub-Saharan Africa to participate in this split. They've actually moved to South Africa to play, and one of them is playing from home. And yeah, they're kind of winning. So it looks like Major 2 is going to have 3 Spanish players representing Sub-Saharan Africa. What is going on? Why is this a thing?
So, this is one of those things. Do you hate the player or do you hate the game? And
for me, it's not personal. I don't think any less personally of them because they're just playing by the rules. I don't care about their run though. I don't care about it. I'm not gonna think any less of them, but I'm not gonna think any more of them either. Like, I don't want to watch their games. When I saw they were winning, I switched off the stream. I'm like, I don't care. I only care if they lose. So maybe, yeah.
You're the
Maybe both.
You're the people watching KC. You're exactly the people watching
Yeah,
KC.
yeah, yeah.
So when they
Actually hate watching
finally
SSA region.
lose and they don't make it, you're like,
No,
yes, come on, the
I
format's
wasn't hate
great.
watching. I wasn't hate watching. I turned it off when they were winning. I was they're just gonna win, aren't they? I don't want to see this because like I don't think that it should be a thing. I believe in the 2/3 rule. Like 2/3 of every team in every region should originate from that region. And I know that would have prevented things like Furia, Genji, Complexity, Elevate, or Gladiators. I think they were at the time. Whatever. It would have prevented a lot of teams in the past, and that's fine with me. If we lost out on all those things, that's I think good because it would protect regions like SSA and APAC from situations like this.
If they get a win at the major, they say they go 0-2. Then they play APAC. They beat APAC.
Do you think they get a win of the major? VK Salon's going to be like, wow, first ever win against like a major region team from SSA team.
Ooh.
He already tweeted that he's the 10th player to win a regional in 2 different regions. Come on, like this is ridiculous. What are we doing here? But yeah, if you haven't followed, you can play from anywhere to anywhere in the current RLCS season. So you can queue SSA, RLCS from Europe, yeah, or you can just move over there and play. Which I mean, that's always been the case. To be fair, this isn't a new season thing. What Team Mobula are doing, 2 of them have actually gone there. But at least when Vert did it, he did it with another like newer region player in Kami and an actual APAC player in Realize. This is just like 3 Spanish players. Like they didn't even go for a single SSA player on their team, which I think is kind of lame.
I feel like
What
this
do you
is.
guys think?
I don't know, like the whole mantra is open, right? Like the qualifier, the format, team, no auto qual. The whole world is open.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that it sounds good, but it's the same thing as like, hey, let's have no laws. Like let's all be free to do whatever we want, and then people just start killing each other. It's like, oh, okay,
that's
that's why we have laws. That's
Your analogies are insane, by the way.
That's why we have laws. That makes sense. So maybe we shouldn't be fully open. Maybe we should have some restrictions because at some point someone's going to exploit the fact that there are no restrictions, and that's what's happening right now. Is that the lack of rules is being exploited, and not making it almost as open as it should be. It's kind of like counterintuitive what's happening because now we're getting SSA players not being able to compete.
It's just not going to inspire any future generation. Like the reason I say at least when Vart went to APAC, he played with a local player and Realize. That's good because at least APAC players are going to look to Realize and be like, that's cool. I could be him one day. I could be the APAC player. But just being a full Spanish team going to SSA, just nobody cares. Like that's not going to inspire Spanish people. It's not going to inspire Europeans. Maybe it will inspire some like other Europeans to go to SSA. So I might be wrong here, but like it's not gonna. It doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless. It's not an achievement. It's like wow, you've gone down 3 divisions. Like since you like your boxing analogy, CJ, it's like the heavyweight champ just going down to lightweight and being like, I'm the best. Look at me, I knocked out the champion. Like it's not fair. They're in their first ever season. This is the second major SSA has been eligible for. Europe has been able to play international lands for like 7.5 years, and we're like, yeah, actually, we're just gonna come over there and take your spot.
Imagine like Usain Bolt just competing at your local school athletics carnival. Okay, like you want it. Well, here's your ribbon. You did win, but do we care? Well done,
it's just so meaningless, and it's going to be like an asterisk on the history of the SSA region. So the only thing that we can learn from this is that there needs to be a 2/3 rule, and everybody should talk about it as much as possible, so that Epic and Blast and whoever makes that decision can consider it. Because if there was a 2/3 rule and someone like VK Salin wanted to go to SSA to compete in RLCS and make some content out of it, he could still do it. He would just go by himself and find a team with SSA players. That would be cool. I'd be all for that. Do you guys think that it should be okay to move laterally between regions that have existed at the same time, like EU, NA? Should there be free movement between those 2 regions? Or do you think we lock down 2/3 rule on that as well?
I think just lock down 2/3 blanket rule. I think.
Yeah, I think.
Otherwise, you're saying one region's better. I don't think it should be like, hey, these regions are the bad ones, so we're going to give like them to do it. I think just 2/3.
Yeah, 2/3 for everything.
It was so odd like seeing at the beginning of the season when that rule change came into place, because I mean, I think to a lot of people, not just me, but like it made no sense. Like, what even was the reasoning for allowing
opening it?
Like, why?
It's easy.
Why
You
can
don't
I?
have to admin. You don't have to admin it anymore. You just have to like people
Oh,
can play from
okay.
anywhere. It's
Yeah.
just easier, right?
You don't have to make sure
It's
that.
just-
Yeah.
it's just
Okay.
lazy.
Yeah. Makes
You don't have
sense.
to check people's location. Don't send it. You don't need to get people to send proof of
No
address.
auto
You're just
qual.
like, yeah.
Everyone do it again. See you in the main event. Good luck.
That's the as far as I can see, that's the only upside to the current system is it's just easier to administrate. That's the only upside.
Yeah,
which is
I could
so
understand that
lazy.
then, which is unfortunate, but I don't think that's
Yeah.
the way.
But okay, in a crazy twist of events, SSA has come full circle because in the first split, Limitless were trying to fend off the invading Young Money clan, who tried to snipe them in the quarterfinal by throwing in Swiss in order to make up the points difference that Limitless had accumulated. Now, because of the current point situation in SSA, the only way that the SSA's very own Limitless can guarantee Major is by sniping Team Mobula in the quarterfinals. So SSA has come full circle, ladies and gentlemen. It's the only way. They need to snipe them, and then I think it would maybe even be a tiebreaker if they did that.
Imagine they do it and they snipe them and they don't ban them. Imagine it's just the most blatant throwing you've ever seen, and they're just like, it's all right by
It's
me.
funny. In one split as well, the region's gone full circle. It's gone from everyone fending off Young Money Clan to all the invaders fending off Limitless.
Yeah. No, but actually, I think I just checked the points. I think for that world to exist, they needed to win against Mobula in the final. They lost 4-2, so I think even that world doesn't exist. But they would be incredibly stupid to do that, even if it was possible, because they're still winning the world's race. Like, let me just break it down. What Team Mobula need to do to take the world spot, which would be disastrous. Right now, they're 36 points behind. If Limitless finish second in the next event, it will be a 32-point lead for Limitless. Now, to get 32 points at Major 2, I believe you have to win. Yeah, you need second, actually. So Team Mobula would need to come top 2 in London in order to take away the world spot. If Limitless can at least get top 2
if they do that, maybe they deserve it. Maybe they should have been in the EU number 4 if they get top 2 at the Major.
Oh, man. One of the Team Mobula players is playing from Spain. Lewis is Lioro, and then Rubix and Salen are in South Africa, I believe. But yeah, I think Greybeard has been calling for 2/3 rule. I think that's the general consensus from SSA and the community. So yeah, hopefully next season we get that. But finally, APAC, more 2/3 rule shenanigans, or rather not 2/3 rule. ZPS joined up with Sphinx and Kevin. Tho has gone to APAC as well and teamed up with Virtuoso and Maxiu, who is from APAC. And ZPS is winning. ZPS is winning against Tho in 2024 APAC. That's right. Zombie Poop Shark is the favorite
poop
to
is
make
kinda
LAN.
nice.
The poop is going to LAN if they keep going. But it's even crazier than that. CJ, could you explain what happened with the grand final of this most recent, or the first regional of the split?
All right, so this is classic. This is classic APAC/OCE shithousery. I'm gonna put them in a blanket. But this is what happened in the grand final. You guys will not believe this. So Gladiators, right? Sorry, let me say it. Let me go the other way. Elevate, as you said, Sphinx. He had a bit of trouble. He was having a little bit of trouble with his PC. Basically, his game file was corrupted, where he couldn't join any server via name and password. He could only join a server if he made it or if Kevin made it for some reason. Kevin's game was linking up with him for some reason. But obviously, for RLCS, the admins need to make it. They've got admin mode. They can pause it and stuff like that. So they couldn't join. And they basically, the admins were like, well, must be a you problem. We're going to start the DQ timer. How it works in Rocket League, you have like 10 minutes to join, or like 5 minutes. And then after each 10-minute, maybe it's 5 minutes.
I think it's
lose
7.
a game. It's 7. There you go, 7 minutes. So you lose a game. So he's scrambling. He's trying to find a way to join a lobby because his whole game file is corrupted. He's like, what's going on? How do I join this? What are we doing? They lost 2 games. So the 14 minutes went by at least.
Periodic forfeit.
And then they realized, oh, hang on, the admin can just invite him to the party and he can join via the party. So they joined via the party. They were 2-0 down and then they swept the grand final. So they won 4-2. But they basically swept.
That is so stupid.
The admin could have just invited him to the party and it would have been fine.
Yeah, the admin team. Hey, at least they figured that out before the series is over. I love the periodic forfeit system. So if you're 15 minutes late for your match, I believe you just lose game 1, and then from then on, I think it's every 7.5 minute interval or something like that.
Yeah,
you lose another game. That's the forfeit system we used for Salt Mine for years and years, and they're doing it. I think that's what they're doing in RLCS now. So it's a good forfeit system, and it allowed Elevate to come back from 2-0 down with 2 forfeit losses. They won 5-3, 5-2, timeout Gladiators. And then overtime win 2-1 for Elevate and a 3-2 win in game 6. So they kind of clearing the competition right now, and it's up to Gladiators to come back. But I mean, on paper, surely Gladiators on paper should be winning. Do you guys think? Like Tho, Virtuoso, and Maxiu versus ZPS, Sphinx, and Kevin. Like you'd think adding Tho to the roster would just make that Gladiators the favorites. I mean, this guy's just been main event EU a bunch of times.
I'll be honest. I'll take the hit here. I do not know APAC ball, so I couldn't tell you.
But you know Tho, though.
Has he done much recently?
Well, he played for SA when they beat KC last split.
That's pretty good. But have you seen the poo?
They made top 8 once. They made top 8 once in EU last split.
Have you seen the poo? Have you seen the poo lately? I don't know. I think it's classic APAC though. Little underdog, the pressure maybe for the favourites is too much, and Elevate are in business. That's pretty baller though to lose 2. They actually tweeted we should have just gone one more and DQ'd 3.
Should have 3-0'd.
Oh my days! I can't believe that though. But hey, Zombie Poop Shark, what an acquisition by Elevate. It seems like everyone's forgiven them for benching LCT because they just stay winning, Kevin and Sphinx. And hey, they were kind of respectable in Copenhagen. They got a game off Pioneers. They got a game off Rule 1. Maybe they could be the team to win a series at a major. They actually could be. With 2/3 APAC, by the way. So well done on that front as well. But we'll see. APAC's interesting. I think Gladiators could still win the next one and make it an exciting regional 3. I think that's all the regions, Rizzo. All the updates.
Yeah, there's one small thing. Well, it's okay. It's actually a pretty big thing, but little minor thing, a little tidbit to add here. 3 days ago, AJ received his prize winnings from RLCS, and you would say, okay, why does that matter? Well, the prize winnings are actually from 10 months ago. So the payments are actually going through. They're starting to send him fiber.
Okay.
Also, apparently got paid for his winter and spring major appearances for the 22-23 season. So that's about a year ago.
That was a mistake. He tweeted.
Yeah, I said, bro, you ain't playing in those ones. That was me.
Yeah, no, he mistyped that one. That was he was not that late.
He was still gatekeeping Fiber back then before he retired, but now Fiber's been let loose.
Now,
and he's getting paid.
I will say there are a couple people who did not tweet about this, who I'm still curious to see if they do get paid, and that would be I think Vatira also hasn't been paid, but Zen and Vatira. I know Zen hasn't. Well, actually, I don't know Zen hasn't, but I know at one point he has not been paid.
France is complicated, I hear.
Yeah, France is a little different with the legalities
as well. Spring 21-22. That's unlucky. All the best with yours. Look, it's a spiritual sort of journey that people. It's a pilgrimage that people go on to try and get their prize money, and we're all on our own journey. Everyone's at a different point, a different time in their own lives. Some get it, some don't. Some are quicker, some are slower. And Jara, you're very slow. So all the best in your journey. Hopefully, but what we do know is they do pay eventually.
They do pay.
You're getting your money. It just might be a couple of years. 2, 3, 4. You'll get it eventually. It's insane.
It's kind of messed up though for like taxes, because I mean surely players who they can just well they could move the tax back to when they do get paid. I don't know how it works. Like it does get complicated with taxes, which is kind of unfortunate. That's the only downside to getting paid really late for some of the players.
You just pay for the when it enters your bank account. is when you pay.
Yeah, I
tax on
believe you
that,
can
so,
do that. You can just pay the tax on the money as it enters your bank account. But
Yeah.
the problem with that could be, imagine someone just gets paid all their prize money for 2 years, like in bulk, in one go. Then they're like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of tax. I don't like that. So they probably have to backtrack and, prove to the tax man that money wasn't actually earned in that calendar year. It's it's not ideal. Not completely easy there. But hey, they're starting to pay. That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It's good to be known. And also, that just reminded me, I got to go check my earnings page because I can probably get paid for regionals 2, 3, and 4.
Earnings check. Earnings check.
Yeah.
But as Rizzo does that probably brings us to the Patreon questions to wrap up this episode. I got a pre-jump one from Rise's dad from a while ago, from a few days, actually yesterday, actually today. Oh no, actually a while ago. No, actually it's Rocket League Chris. I'm gonna double back on that. Rocket League Chris was asking me. Now I get asked this a lot as well because I was announced for the OCE broadcast. We've been doing that, and the amount of people that are like, "How does he do it?" Well, firstly, yes, it is. I know it's superhuman how I cover 3 regions at once. But seriously, I do it. People act like this is what I'm doing every day. Now, obviously, that's not sustainable for me to do every single day, like 15 hours of sleep for 2 hours, wake up EU, sleep for 2 hours, wake up NA, sleep for 5 hours, wake up OCE. But it's like 3 days every 2 weeks. So yeah, it's 3 days a fortnight. So I certainly have time to recover. So that was the question. How do I cover 3 regions at once? I love doing it, but it's not like it's every day. It's only 3 regions a fortnight. And for the OCE broadcast, yes, they do. He asked do they have graphic designers or are the overlays and stuff provided by Epic/Blast? Yes, they are. So they just put those up on the other stream. So you'll probably see the same overlays and stuff with SSA and other regions. I haven't actually looked at the other overlays and stuff, but it is provided by Blast/Epic if they want them. What are the odds that the format? This is from Rise of Dad. What are the odds that the format changes next season because hundreds of thousands of viewers are gone for the upcoming EU regional? I didn't talk about that, but this could be a massive blessing in disguise that it was K Corp that lost in terms of getting the format changed for next season, because now I feel like it's really brought it to light.
Yeah.
If they're like, okay, this is a problem. We really want the Ultras at LANs. They're not going to be here.
Especially if they're really, really good, like one of the best teams. If it was just like the Ultras and KC are like the 9th best team in Europe, but the fact they're also really good in combination, kind of underline the problem pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking me to explain a couple of people asked me to explain my power rankings. Well, I don't really know what there is to explain. I mean, I tweeted my new top 10. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Gentlemates and major champions are still in top. And then after that, you've got SA. I mean, they beat KC, who used to be number 2. So they're, boom, number 2. Then you got Daystar GG, who beat George. And they beat Top Cougars. And they beat Karmine Corp. So it's like, I mean, just the tier list of teams who beat the team who beat the team who beat Karmine Corp. And then you got KC, Falcons, Vitality, NIP, still Furious spot. And then M80 and Swiss. Probably for me, the 10th best team in the world. Swiss M80 specifically. So I feel like it's quite obvious. I mean, what is there to explain? I can't really dumb that down anymore. It's like it's very obvious. It's a top 10. So yeah, can't really argue with that. And what other questions we got from the Discord?
This one's a quick one. Dying Lotus says, what would have to happen for KC to actually make it through to Worlds? KC has an incredibly high chance of making it to Worlds.
Yeah, Worlds they're probably fine.
The major, not so much, but Worlds, they have a lot of points already accumulated, so they're probably good.
It's actually quicker to talk about the scenario that KC don't make Worlds. That is, like, there are so many different ways that they make Worlds, but the way that they don't make Worlds is if BDS, Vitality, K-Corp, and Oxygen all make... sorry, not K-Corp. Oxygen, BDS, Vitality, and Gentlemates, the other teams in the top 5 in EU, if they make top 4 at this event and the next event, and they all also make top 4 in London with Oxygen winning the whole thing, then I think that would be enough for KC to lose their spot. 'Cause right now they are, how many points ahead? They're 29, or is it 39? Is it really? They're 39 points ahead of Oxygen? That's kind of insane, that this far into the season. They're 39 points ahead of Oxygen. So Oxygen need to get within, winning Major 2, you get 40. So yeah, they could do it with a win. Oxygen winning Major 2 would be the way to boot Vatira and Rise from Worlds. Simple.
I really like this next question. So I'm going to see the spotlight. This one comes from Pitam? Sorry, botched your name. He said, what are y'all's thoughts on partial franchising? Like 8 franchise teams and 8 other from open quals.
I hate it. I don't like it. I hate franchising. I hate partial franchising.
Hold on. Give it a quick thought. Give it a quick thought. Breathe in. And release. What do you think?
I hate it. I still hate it. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I mean, there are a lot of people in the Rocket League community. Well, maybe not. It's just T-Bates. There's T-Bates in the Rocket League community who likes franchising. I don't like it though. I just don't like the idea of that. It's good that there is the competition of being part of the ecosystem, competing for that is healthy. As soon as you just give it to some teams, like the 8 teams, and they don't have to try anymore, I feel like that will just lead to bad things happening.
Yeah, I don't
see the counter argument to that is that those orgs would invest more because they're guaranteed a spot. I don't know, like it gives away too much power. It's not fair. Who gets the 8 spots? It's I don't know. It's not fair.
I don't like the like. I think. I mean the whole idea with the whole idea with franchising to me a lot of times is that there's just a lot more control over the team, because right now, I mean, realistically, think about it, like the players have a ton of control over the, and Epic, but like the orgs don't have a lot of control. So if like the orgs are able to buy in with Epic, then it's like a partnership between the orgs and like actually be able to do that. So if you do like a partial franchising, it doesn't make much sense to me. It seems like it kind of defeats the purpose of having 8 teams that are like locked in with Epic. Here's your rules, all this, and then the other 8 teams are like, all right, we just made it in. Now what? Like, what do we do? I think what could work potentially, and I'm not a fan of franchising, but something similar to what Valorant does is they have their partnered teams. Like, I think it's just essentially franchising. They just say partnered, but they have their partnered teams, and it's like one league, their main base league, and then there's a league under them that teams can qualify into the franchise league, but it's only like one team a season. And so it's like a whole year, one team can come into it.
There is still promo rel, which is good for that.
I don't think there's relegation. I think it's only one singular promotion team goes up into the league.
So just the top league keeps getting bigger? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the top league just gets bigger. I don't think there's relegation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good question, but I don't like it. But we're not really franchising fans in the esports context. I know it works in sports, but I don't think it works in esports right now. It's too unsure who those spots should be. Who should get franchise spots?
Siege said you get promoted, and after 2 seasons you go back down.
After a Senate, oh wow, you can win.
That is horrible.
And still go down.
That is awful. Yeah.
So it's just a little placeholder spot to make people feel like this promotion. That's kind of cringe.
So
Look, Rizzo,
weird.
how about you present us next step with a PowerPoint presentation on franchising? Because I know you're probably the only one for it. I
just said I'm not for franchising.
He's not for it. T-Bates is for it. He's the only one I've heard
that's really for it. Let's get T-Bates on the show to try and
T-Bates back on.
He'll present the NFL format or the NFL structure.
We better be careful. He might just like call in right now, like after pulling his car over to the side of the road. Like, no one is
that
safe.
was good.
No one is safe.
That was really good.
Segment.
Tohu asked if we're going to have a meetup in London. Obviously, Rizzo's not there. He says, yes, if you're a Patreon as well, can we just plug the Patreon anyway? Patreon.com/Chalkcast. We have tons of Korean content still coming out, Korean bonus episodes. Which bonus episodes are we up to now, Rizzo? Just quietly as we're... Let me have a quick look.
Yeah, what are people getting for their hard-earned $5 Patreon?
$5 a month, ladies and gents, and you can get 48. Right, 48 bonus episodes, and we've got
50.
many more coming out. We've got nearly 50 bonus episodes. If you guys want bonus content, if you're thinking, gee, wouldn't want some more of this?
What did we do for 50 again? What was 50?
Oh, that was our
Don't tell me it was the Korean face masks. Don't tell us.
I think it was.
Oh my goodness! So for episode 50, we tried Korean face masks, and Athena made CJ and I put on foot masks.
That was the funniest. I was in tears crying. Looking, Rizzo looked like General Grievous.
He looked like General Grievous mixed with like the villain of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre wearing somebody else's skin. Like
He was
so insane.
or he looked like Dwight Schrute off The Office when he cut
Yeah.
cut the mask off, cut the face off the dummy. It was insane. Anyway, jump in on the Patreon, and the reason I say that is because for the fan meetup, yes, we'll absolutely. Me and Johnny will. We'll just put a message in the Patreon, and we'll meet at some point, kind of like how we did in Copenhagen. For the patrons that are there at that are coming to land, and we'll do a little meetup at some point. So
yeah, there'll be something.
Yeah, make sure you're in the Patreon, get into the Discord as well. Link your Patreon to your Discord so you can get those channels in there. And if you just want to join the Discord as well, you are more than free to, as the ads are playing. Yeah, make sure you get it on the Patreon though. Those episodes are so funny. The bonus eps, we love them.
I love how Rizzo's countered your Patreon ad with just straight up ads. So
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
ads on top of ads
How about have ads to my own channel?
Yeah,
Let me make some
layered
money.
ads.
I was like, as
on
he's
Rizzo's
pitching this
channel
thing,
will
let me
be.
just throw that over. Nah, they just played, okay? I didn't do that on purpose. But yeah, I think that's an excellent time to wrap it up. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We appreciate you guys as always. If you guys missed any part of the episode, be sure to check it out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. You can catch all the action there. Yeah, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, Ram stream?
Hey, Ram.